news and the local.
Thank you very much, Jake, and welcome everybody to Community Comment on WBEV. It's been a few days since we've had a live show, so it's good to be back. Especially good to be back this morning because we have a really interesting topic with some great guests. From the Dodge County Historical Society, Patrick Lutz and Kurt Sampson. We'll be talking about a few things, but most of the time we're going to be talking about an archaeological dig happening at Swan City Park in Beaver Dam. It's a fascinating place with a fascinating history, and we're going to talk all about it for the next hour. Maybe you have a question for our guests. Maybe you have your own story about Swan City Park that you'd like to share. We'd love for you to be a part of the program. You can call us or text us at 920-887-9595, or you can call the WBEV studio line at 885-4446. Patrick and Kurt, welcome to Community Comments.
Thank you for having us.
Good morning.
Good to have you back. So, yeah, let's get right into it. It's really interesting. You've got an archaeological dig coming up. Exactly what's happening?
Well, I'm just going to start off, and I'm going to turn it over to Kurt, our expert. But people might say, well, why and what are they going to be doing at Swan City Park? And we are going to be doing an archaeological dig looking for artifacts on the western side of the park. Back in the 1880s, there was a hotel there connected with a mineral spring at Swan City Park. And the hotel was there for about 12 years and it was torn down. And we know approximately where it was, and there was also a bathhouse connected with it and a couple other outbuildings. And so we're going to be digging in that area and to see if we can find part of the foundation or even a nail from the original building or a piece of glass or anything that will prove that building was there. We knew it was there, but I mean, just to say, okay, the building was in this location. So we know that there has to be something there connected to that hotel.
And if I understand correctly, the hotel was where the kind of walled-off playground is now.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the wall that's there is in the approximate area where the hotel was. There's been a myth over the years that sits right on top of the foundation, but we did some digging a while back, and we found the foundation. A new foundation was put in when they put that wall in, and the wall was put there. It was a deer park at one time, and it's got a kind of a funny shape on the north side. It makes this kind of weird. There's a weird angle, and people ask, why didn't they just build a rectangle? Well, there was actually a stream that flowed through the area, and when the deer were in that area, in the penned area, they could walk down and actually drink from that spring or that stream that went through.
Oh, wow. That's something you don't see a lot of anymore.
Not anymore, no. And there was a big iron cage or rack type system that kept the deer in. There was the wall, but then on top of that there was a fencing system to keep the deer in place. And they didn't keep them there for a long time. That was probably about 20 years they had deer at the very most. And then they decided it really wasn't the best thing to have deer penned up like that.
Mm-hmm. Now, my understanding is that the hope is that we might learn some things that we don't know right now. And I think the last time you were on, you mentioned that we know quite a bit about Swan City Park, but there are gaps in what we know. And a part of this dig is to help fill in those gaps with information.
I'm going to turn it over to Kurt now because he's leading the charge on this, and we're glad to have him have his expertise. And if we, as a group, just went over and started digging, we really wouldn't do it in the way that an archaeological dig should be done, because many times people they get anxious, and we invited a bunch of people and just bring a shovel. That's really not the way to go about it. So I think Kurt can fill that in as far as what's the best way to do it, and how can we find the artifacts and not damage them along the way.
Yeah, of course. So as a lot of people in the community know, there's an effort right now to, in a sense, redevelop Swan City Park into the modern era by putting modern pathways through there and redoing the band shell. And recently, obviously, they redid the lagoons and the springs there and everything. And Patrick didn't mention, but he's been doing, a really deep dive on the history of Swan City Park. And one of the things that's been a real boon for us is the newspapers.com, which is affiliated with Ancestry. And Patrick's been able to find a wealth of information, nearly 60 pages of interesting and new information about the history of that park. So in that sense, that's one way you fill in the gaps. But archaeologically is another way we can fill in the gaps. And recently, the State Historical Society Museum Archaeology program with Norm Meinholz, an archaeologist that I've known for about 35 years, about a week and a half ago, or no, I guess it's about nearly 2 weeks ago now, we're out in the park doing some shovel testing for the walkway that will eventually go through the parkway. And they were also shovel testing in the approximate area that we're going to be in. And so what shovel testing does basically is you basically dig a hole that's about maybe a little bit bigger than the size of a basketball. And you dig that down through the A horizon, which is the soil that's been built up technically since the last glacial period, over the last 10 to 12,000 years. And usually, you know, based on what we know in archaeology right now, if you're going to find any kind of human occupation within that A horizon, which can be anywhere from, 30 to 50, 60 centimeters deep, depending on the location and a number of different environmental factors that affect how soil is formed and built up over time with erosion and things like that. But you will find human artifacts within that A horizon usually. And usually once you dig through that, depending on how deep it is in that situation, you get to what's called the B horizon, which is literally the soil that was there from when the glacier scraped off the land and then receded, and then the soil built up with the A horizon. So there's potential to find not only historic artifacts within this A horizon, but also prehistoric artifacts. So we're digging in an area that had obviously a lot of historic occupation of that part of the park from the Vita Springs hotel that was there back in the 1800s. And our hope is that we can find anything, like Patrick said, a nail. Even nails can tell us something about what people were doing in the past. Even though we know that hotel was there and what it looked like, there is still potential to find information by digging these, not only these shovel tests that we're actually going to do this afternoon, but the dig is scheduled for May 16th from 10 a.m. in the morning till about 4 p.m. in the afternoon. And what we're going to do is we're going to have a couple of excavation units open that day, and we're inviting the public to come to help us excavate. And we want it to be a public event where children of all ages and adults, of course, can come and help us excavate a couple of units. The shovel testing today will do a couple of things. It'll give us an idea what the soil conditions are in that area, and if there's potential for us to find anything in the particular areas that we're going to be shovel testing. Most of it will be on the north end of the enclosure that Patrick mentioned, where the playground enclosure is, which is pretty much the approximate location of where the hotel was along that edge of the street there. And then a little bit north of there was a bathhouse situated to the north of the hotel that people could walk right out and then go right into the bathhouse. In any historic area or prehistoric area, people leave things behind on the surface. Now, with people using that as a Victorian park for well over 12 years, and that being a high concentration area of human occupation of the park, people drop things. They drop coins, anything, right? So there's potential to find not only historic artifacts, but prehistoric artifacts. When the state was digging last week, they did find a lot of nails and glass and some coins. They found a portion of a porcelain dipping cup from the spring resort. And in one area of the park, they actually found some prehistoric middle woodland pottery that's about 2,500 years old. So we're hoping to find anything, right, that will help tell the story of what was going on at that particular location of the park.
Certainly. We'll talk more about that in just a minute. We have to take a quick break, but we'll be right back. You're listening to Community Comment on 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge.
WBEV powered by Daily Dodge. Here's Terry Bell.
Thank you very much, Jake, and welcome back to Community Comment, everybody. Our guests today are Patrick Lutz and Kurt Sampson of the Dodge County Historical Society, talking about a very exciting and hopefully informative archaeological dig coming up at Swan City Park on May 16th. We're hoping to better tell the story of Swan City Park, one of the most significant spots in all of Wisconsin. Maybe you have a story to tell or a question to ask our guests. You can join us by calling or texting 920-887-9595, or you can call the WBEV studio line at 885-4446. I'm curious to know, the public is invited to be a part of this. Do you have to sign up or register ahead of time, or can you just show up?
You can just show up, and that's a great question because not everybody's going to be able to work at once, so people are going to have to be patient, and we really want to get the kids involved. But it's on the west side of the park, and there's plenty of parking there, right, street parking, and you'll see us. We'll have some banners and some signs up in the area, and it's basically inside the area where the playground equipment is today. There's quite a bit of equipment on the south side of that enclosure, but not much on the north side. So I'm kind of excited about digging there because I don't think that's really been disturbed that much over the years. And they don't have to bring any equipment. I mean, we'll have shovels and bigger shovels and little shovels and trowels, and Kurt's going to treat it just like he would if he was out on a dig, as he's done many, many times in the past.
Sure.
So the only thing I would add to that is that this is, like Patrick mentioned, an open to the public excavation. if there are younger kids that would like to participate, the only thing that we ask is that they're accompanied by a legal guardian, for liability issues and for safety and things like that. And we will provide all the tools and safety equipment, and basically we will just rely on the public to help us excavate a couple of excavation units. And what that entails basically is, once we shovel test today, if we are able to find any intact features, whether they're historic or prehistoric, we will put a 1 meter by 2 meter excavation unit down on the ground. And basically at that point, it turns into a more of a systematic excavation where we go down in controlled 10 centimeter levels. And we'll explain all those details to the people that come out to the park. We're only going to have probably 2 excavation units open. So like Patrick said, if we do have a lot of people that come out, they'll have to be patient, but everybody will get a turn. And I'll have an archaeology buddy there to help supervise that. We've also been working very closely with the city and the Parks Department with Joe Kern to make sure that everything is done properly. In order to excavate on publicly owned land, we were required to get a archaeological dig permit through the State Historical Society in Madison, through the Office of the State Archaeologist. And Dr. Amy Roseborough is our state archaeologist, and they approve those permits for us to do some digging. So our hope is really, the big picture is to make this just a fun family event for people to come out and try something that most people don't get a chance to do an actual excavation.
Yeah, I'm curious to know, you could have gone one of two ways. You could have made it a fun family event, or you could have just had, the experts come do it. Why did you decide to make it a public event rather than a private one?
I'd like to answer that one because the Dodge County Historical Society, we've really changed our mission. I mean, we're do a lot more outreach than we ever did before, so many more public events. And one of the major portions of our mission is education. So that's really one of the major reasons is we want to show people, how do you do things connected with history, and get the families involved, and also get those same families to come to our museum, which is fantastic.
Yeah, I gotta say, this is genius. I mean, because what do kids love more than digging in the dirt, for one thing? And secondly, I mean, this appeals to the youngest kids all the way up to the very curious, science-minded high schooler.
Sure. One of the shows that I watch every Tuesday night is called The Mystery of Oak Island, and I've been fascinated by that. I go all the way back to the magazine articles that was in the Reader's Digest way back in the 60s that talked about this treasure in Oak Island. And the show's been on this History Channel for 13 years, and I very, very seldom miss an episode. But we're on a much smaller scale than anything on Oak Island. So, Kurt,
the other thing that's just to piggyback off of Patrick's ideas here, another way to look at this too is that young kids by nature are interested in things like this, and it's also a way to get people connected to the community and to their past, and to learn about, a lot of people in the community, they drive by Swan City Park every day, and they have absolutely no idea of the history of that park, the deep history of that park. I mean, there have been people using that park for the better part of 12,000 years. And so it was always a place where people gathered, and where people had a sense of community and were tied to the land there. And so that's just another way of us for us to help to do that with the public. And maybe also educate the public about what archaeology really is. A lot of times when people come to the museum, we do a lot of fifth grade tours at the museum. And a lot of times the kids are under the impression that archaeology equates to dinosaurs. Right. Well, that's not what archaeology does. Archaeology is the study of cultural human remains, not dinosaurs. Okay, and And we do that by incorporating the 4 subfields of anthropology, which is cultural anthropology, archaeology, physical anthropology, and linguistics, right? So we're doing an aspect of anthropology that studies human cultural remains that were left behind in the community. So depending on what we find, if we're fortunate to find some things, it's just another piece to that puzzle, right? About what was happening in that park and what that park meant to people in the past.
Absolutely. Our guests today are Patrick Lutz and Kirk Sampson of the Dodge County Historical Society. We're talking about the archaeological dig coming up at Swan City Park on May 16th. We'll talk more about that right after we take a break for the news. You're listening to Community Comment on 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge.
WBEV. In the Daily Dodge TV studios, here is Terry Bell with more community comment.
Thank you so much, Jake. Welcome back, everybody. Today we're talking about a very exciting day coming up here in Beaver Dam. On Saturday, May 16th, an archaeological dig will be happening at Swan City Park. Not only will that be happening, but you and your family are invited to come and take part in it. We're talking to Patrick Lutz and Kurt Sampson of the Historical Science Society all about that. If you have any questions for Patrick and Kurt, we invite you to join the program. You can call us or text us at 920-887-9595, or you can call the WBEV studio line at 885-4446. And before we go any further, we should probably remind people exactly when this is happening.
All right, so May 16th, it's a Saturday, and we'll be there early, but we really don't want to get started until about 10 o'clock because it's going to take us a little while to get things set up.
So no point showing up before 10.
No, unless you want to help us unload all the equipment. Yeah, and it'll go between 3 and 4 o'clock.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and hopefully you have good weather, too.
That's the other thing, because we're going to have a hard time rescheduling it because we have so many other activities lined up for the spring. So it's got to be a nice day, and if it's a little sprinkly, we'll still do it, but if it's pouring down rain, then it's pretty hard to do.
Certainly.
Yeah.
So, again, the public's invited. What kind of safeguards are in place to make sure that, just a layperson coming in and doing this doesn't make the kind of mistake that a trained archaeologist would not make?
Well, just oversight.
Yeah.
Just me standing there and supervising, and it's actually very simple. It's just, there's a little bit of a technique to using the trowel to scrape down, to get those 10 centimeter level, and with a little bit of practice and a little bit of showing, and it's no problem, and we'll have a couple of other archaeologists there, hopefully a couple buddies of mine that will be supervising as well and teaching the simple techniques. And I will have safety glasses there if people want to wear safety glasses, and obviously safety first. And so we'll be supervising that very carefully, and all the excavated dirt that comes out of the hole will be screened, of course. So we'll have people manning the screen, manning shovels, manning trowels. And we're just asking the public to just be aware of that safety comes first. And
you don't seem concerned that anything rare or significant is going to get
well. The only thing that could happen that would completely halt the project is if we found human remains. Okay. And in Swan City Park, one of the reasons you have to get that digging permit through the state is that Swan City Park is considered a catalog burial site. And back in the 1800s, when they were developing that park, they did find human remains in the park. And we are assuming that those were probably Native American remains. It's possible that they might have been early settler remains, but we have no documentation of that at all. And so that's one of the reasons why you're required to get the digging permit.
And a big part of why you're doing this is because a lot of what maybe we once knew about Swan Park has been lost to history.
Yes, there was a terrible fire in Juneau. The original courthouse burned. There may have been some records there that were lost. I am going to be spending some time this summer down at the State Historical Society going through Dr. Swan's, some of his records, and there's a box that, a number of boxes that are, designated and cataloged, and I'll have an opportunity to look through those, and who knows what might be there. It might be pictures we've never seen before, it might be some sketches of the hotel, so I'm really excited about doing that.
You mentioned Dr. Swan, and one part of at least the white European settler portion of our history was that there was once a spa on that spot. Back when those were very popular attractions, especially for people who lived in cities where conditions were maybe not all that sanitary. They would come out
absolutely right
to these spas that were out in rural areas, and better air, better water.
Right. So in 1879, Dr. Swan actually started working on the park. He bought the property from a local citizen who actually used it as a cow pasture because there was water there. Excuse me, but there was actually a barn. That was some information that I just found. There was a barn in the approximate area of where the band shell is today, but there was a big barn there at one time. And Dr. Swan knew about the spring, and some of the local people said, maybe we could be like Waukesha, because Waukesha is famous. There were 70 different springs that were identified in the area of the central part of Waukesha. And we also have the Bethesda Springs, and Saratoga, New York was famous for springs. And so they were all over the United States. There was one in Iowa. We've learned so much about springs by doing our research. But when Dr. Swan bought the property, his intention was it was a money-making effort, and it was turning that block that we know today as Swan. And the real name, I just want to clarify it. It's Swan's City Park. That's the official
S?
name, apostrophe S.
Oh.
And somewhere along the line, people just lost track of the apostrophe and then sometimes shortened it to Swan Park.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the official name is Swan's City Park.
I just learned something. Okay. So once again, that is on Saturday, May 16th. You can show up as early as 10 and stick around as late as 4. Free and no need to sign up ahead of
No
time.
need to sign up ahead of time. We just and you can just come and watch too. I mean, there's plenty of room, plenty if you just want to watch the procedure, because it'll be slow within the actual dig area, but then we'll be shoveling material into the sifter boxes that we've made, and we can have children and parents do it together, sift this material, and then we'll have a tarp underneath it, and it might catch something, and then who knows what we might find, because sometimes with digs, Kurt knows, I mean, you might be digging you might miss some tiny little thing. It might be a fleck of maybe a piece of a plate that they used in the ballroom and dining room at the hotel.
Certainly.
We're just going to be, anything we find, we'll probably have to have one of those air horns to blow it and just say, oh, this is it.
One thing I think is very exciting too is who knows what child out there that day will be inspired to someday be an archaeologist or an historian.
Yeah.
Yeah, we we are hoping that a lot of people come and just to check it out, and then we're also going to have on display some pictures of the park the way it was back in the 1800s. We have a number of plaques that have been installed. We have 8 plaques that really tell the history. It's almost like a history walk that tell the history of Swan Park, and we have one more to put up that will highlight the area where we're actually going to be digging, one of our brass plaques. And that one highlights what was in that particular area, where it was the deer park and the hotel preceding that, and then now the children's playground area.
Absolutely. Well, coming up next, we have a couple more events to talk about, including a ghost story festival and a big annual gathering you will not want to miss out on. So stay with us. You're listening to Community Comment on 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge.
last segment of today's community comment on 95.3 WBEV. We now send it to Terry Bell.
Thank you very much, Jake, and welcome back, everybody. Our guests today on Community Comment are Kurt Sampson and Patrick Lutz of the Dodge County Historical Society. We're talking about a lot of exciting events coming up. We've been talking about the archaeological dig on May 16th at Swan City Park, but a lot of other things we need to get to as well. You do have time to join the program if you'd like. You can call us or text us at 920-887-9595, or you can call the WBEV studio line at 885-4446. And coming up pretty soon is the Ghost Story Festival.
Yes, all of a sudden it'll be here. It's going to be our 5th annual Ghost Story Festival, and that will be on Friday, June 12th, 7:30 to 9. And it's right behind our building. We have a stage set up in that area, and it really creates a nice presentation area because people can just bring their lawn chairs and find a spot to sit. And we provide a full evening of free ghostly entertainment. So it's been a lot of fun because over the years we've refined it. I think the show's gotten better every single year. This year we have six different presentations. Kurt and I usually start off by talking about our own interesting stories in our building. This is how this all came about, because people say, well, why are you doing this now and not at Halloween? Well, what we tell people is there's just so many things going into Halloween, this would kind of get lost. But over the years, the people who have worked at the Historical Society, and sometimes even some of our guests have said, there's some weird things in this building. And I can remember when I was a kid, when it was a library, and I thought he saw things, and so that's what gave us the idea. And in fact, even the board, we had a Christmas party, and without us even really talking about this kind of thing, somebody brought it up, and then somebody else said, wait a minute, I got a story. And then there was all these stories, and we thought, we have to have a festival, and we thought it would tie it in well with the Peonies Festival, and we're kind of the lead-off activity for that Friday evening. Oh. And so we've got some of the people who have been here before, but everything is new, all new stories, some great people, some professional actors. One of the people I want to highlight is Chad Lewis. He's a nationally known author and television personality. He's been on the History Channel, and he will do paranormal Wisconsin stories, and he did a great job for us at Christmas time. Paranormal,
sure does. Yeah.
Spooky Christmas, which we didn't really even know existed, but there was a whole story, many stories about different cultures, and that Christmas wasn't always about Santa Claus. It was about other things as well.
He's actually written 30 books on the strange and paranormal and the unusual happenings all around the world.
Oh my gosh. These stories, do any of them have any local ties, or are they just good stories?
They're just mostly just good stories. And I want to mention that we have Creepy Carrots, which is a children's story. So they're not stories where people are going to all of a sudden have to get up from their chair and run away. I mean, they're
no kids with nightmares.
No,
that night.
absolutely
Okay.
not. They're really so I'm just going to go through it really quickly. So Kurt and I will be talking about our own stories, and then Creepy Carrots, directed by Mary Kaler, and The Lady of Esperson House, Ben Johnson. He's a professional actor. The Ghost of a Promise by Jessica Schultz. This is her 5th year, actually, another professional actress. Getting Rid of George is put on, and directed by my wife, Diane. Beaver Dam Area Community Theater All-Stars, and then we'll end the evening with Chad Lewis. Last year was really windy and creepy, and things were blowing all around, and Chad was telling his stories, and so it was a great way to end the evening.
I think you mentioned maybe at some point some ghost hunters are coming to the society.
Yeah, Kurt, I'm going to let you take
So
that.
yeah, we have a group of retired Madison area police officers that formed a paranormal investigation group, and their leader Lisa is actually an original Beaver Dam native, and she grew up here, came to the library, and she had some interesting experiences in a library as a young child where she claims that she actually saw an apparition of Hattie Doolittle, the old librarian, in the library. And other people have claimed to have seen her as well. She's not the only one. So a couple of weeks ago, she approached us and asked us if there would be a possibility that their group could come and do some paranormal investigating one night. So we set it up for this Saturday night. And they're going to come and spend a couple hours doing their investigation and see if they can find anything of interest.
Yeah, that's that'd be fascinating. Can people come and join them, or is this?
No, no, it's just strictly just a group, and
Okay.
and we don't want the public coming trying to scare them or bang on the windows and
All
things
right.
like
Didn't
that.
know for
And the
sure.
police
Had to
department
ask.
will be aware that they're in there, so they don't think somebody's just walking around with flashlights and, you know, when all the
That's-
lights are off in the museum and stuff. But this, no, a lot of people are kind of skeptical about this kind of stuff, but it's actually a very serious thing to these ghost hunters. And when I came to the museum nearly 18 years ago, it's hard to believe it's been almost 18 years, but I was told by our former curator, Mary Beth, that she had had some experiences in the building, and I was skeptical just like anybody. And I have to admit, I'm no longer a skeptic. I've had some things that happened to me in that building that I can't explain. And we'll save those for the Ghost Story Festival in the beginning when we tell our stories of paranormal activity that's happened. And over the last year, since our last ghost story a year ago, we've had several things that have happened that we've been able to document. So,
My goodness.
Yeah.
Wow. Shifting gears just a little bit, also coming up in June, the very next day, it seems, is the lawn party.
Yeah, it's quite a busy weekend. I'm just going to digress just for a minute. Usually, our board is a little bit older, a little on the older side. We're getting some new, younger people, which is great. But we used to have a party always after our Saturday event, but now it's kind of like we just like to go home. So we have quite a bit of activities because it takes a lot to get the Ghost Story Festival all set up and the stage and everything else that goes with that. And on Saturday, though, we have a really fun event that's been going on for probably 20 years, I think, at least. And
just about 20 years.
yep.
Yeah.
So our lawn party, and again, this is all free. And that'll be on Saturday, June 13th, 10 o'clock to 3. We have free root beer floats, which has always been a highlight. There'll be antique cars on the grounds. The music group, the Characters, a really popular group from Beaver Dam. They'll be in our front lawn playing from 1 to 3, and they do a lot of music from the 50s, 60s, 70s. An antique fire truck for people to check out. We have an antique caboose that's always on site, but it'll be open on that day from 10 to 3. We have psychic readings by Madame Adela Sear, and she's been doing this for a number of years. And people come and they can sign up, and pretty much she has a sign-up sheet, and she'll do some psychic readings, and people will enjoy that as well. And that's free, also just a goodwill offering. Horse demonstration about harness racing at the Dodge County Fairgrounds. They do a lot of that. And so we have a young lady who will bring her rig, and that'll be there. And then we're also celebrating, and Kurt, why don't you talk about that one?
We're also celebrating Eli. Eli is the name that was given to our mammoth bones in our collection. And on our previous show, we mentioned that we had a radiocarbon date done on the mammoth bones, and those radiocarbon dates came back at around 16,370. So we got the idea to celebrate Eli's 16,371 birthday this year. And Eli got his name by a contest that we did with some elementary school kids a number of years ago after we received the bones, where there was a contest to name the mammoth. And so we thought it would be fun to have a birthday for the mammoth. And basically what that'll entail is there'll be some elephants and some mammoth placed around the exhibits in the museum as kind of a scavenger hunt for people to go around the building and see if they can find all the elephants around the building and stuff. So,
Great idea.
I
No
think we're
gifts.
having a birthday cake. Oh,
and a mammoth birthday cake. Yeah,
But no gifts.
no.
that's right.
Right.
and anybody can do that. It's not just for the kids.
Oh, that's fantastic. So that's the Ghost Story Festival, Friday night, June 12th from 7:30 to 9. The lawn party is the next day, Saturday, June 13th from 10 in the morning to 3 in the afternoon. And, of course, the big archaeological dig at Swan City Park from 10 to about 4, and that's on Saturday, May 16th.
Correct.
Can I mention one more thing?
Of course.
Okay, this coming Saturday, May 2nd, we have our final speaker, our program, historical program of our winter speaking program. We have Carl Reinman from Horicon. He's a local historian. A couple of weeks ago, he did a very interesting program called The Rise and Fall of Lake Horicon. and it's steamers. And a lot of people don't realize that Horicon Marsh actually was inundated in its past into a lake, and they actually used to have steam paddle boats on Horicon Lake. And so he's going to be doing a program this coming Saturday at 1 p.m., free and open to the public at the Dodge County Historic Society.
Wow, slice of our history I didn't know about. That's pretty interesting. It has been a fascinating hour. I want to thank you, Patrick Lux and Kurt Sampson, for being with us today.
And thank you for all your support and all the support from WBEV and XRO over all these years.
It's been time well spent, absolutely. And thank you for listening to Community Comment on 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge.
Save big money on every